I should have known something was wrong when my mother insisted on throwing me a baby shower. I'm Rachel Chen. I'm 32 years old, 7 months pregnant, and up until 3 weeks ago, I thought I understood my family's dynamics. My younger sister Jessica was the golden child, the one who got mom's attention, dad's pride, and every benefit of the doubt. I was the responsible one, the one who worked 2 jobs to help pay for Jessica's college, the one who loaned mom money when dad's business struggled, the one who showed up for every family obligation with a smile, even when it hurt. But I never thought they'd actually try to rob me. The baby shower was mom's idea. She called me 6 weeks ago, voice dripping with enthusiasm I'd rarely heard directed at me. "Rachel, honey, I know you and Eric wanted something small, but a baby deserves to be celebrated properly. Let me throw you a shower at the Rosewood Country Club. My treat. You deserve something special." I was shocked. Mom had barely acknowledged my pregnancy beyond a polite congratulations when I'd told her. She'd spent more time asking when Eric and I were getting married than asking how I was feeling. But here she was, offering to host an entire event. "Mom, that's really generous, but no buts. You're my daughter. This is my first grandchild. I want to do this." My first grandchild. Not your first child. Not Lily's little sister. My first grandchild, as if my 4-year-old daughter Lily from my previous marriage somehow didn't count. But I swallowed the familiar sting and said yes. Maybe this was Mom finally trying to bridge the gap between us. Maybe pregnancy was softening her. I was so stupid. The shower was beautiful, I'll give her that. The Rosewood's event room was decorated in soft pink and cream, with white roses on every table. There were about 40 guests, Mom's friends from church, some of my coworkers, a few old family friends. My best friend Sarah had flown in from Seattle. Eric's mom was there, warm and excited, already treating Lily like her own grandchild. Jessica arrived late, as always, in a designer dress that probably cost more than I made in a month. She worked in marketing, which as far as I could tell meant posting on Instagram and living off mom and dad's money. She was 28, beautiful, and had never worked a real job in her life. "Rachel!" She air-kissed both my cheeks. "You look glowing." It was the kind of compliment that felt like an insult. Jessica had a gift for that. "Thanks for coming," I said, "because that's what you say." "Wouldn't miss it. It's not every day my big sister has a baby." She leaned in, lowering her voice. "Though I still think you should have waited until after the wedding. But hey, that's just me being old-fashioned." There it was, the judgment wrapped in concern. I smiled tightly and excused myself to check on Lily. My daughter was in the country club's children's playroom with 3 other kids, building an elaborate block tower under the supervision of the club's childcare staff. When she saw me, her face lit up. "Mommy, look how tall." "That's amazing, sweetie." I knelt down carefully, my pregnant belly making it awkward. "You having fun?" "Yeah." "Can I have more juice?" "Of course. I'll bring you some in a bit. Mommy has to go back to the party, okay? But I'm right next door if you need me." "Okay." She was already back to her blocks, tongue poking out in concentration the way she does when she's focused. I watched her for a moment, my heart swelling. Lily was the best thing I'd ever done. My ex-husband had been a mistake, but she was pure joy. And soon she'd have a little sister. I touched my belly, feeling the baby kick. Everything was going to be okay. We were going to be okay. When I returned to the shower, Mom was holding court near the gift table, laughing with her friends. Jessica was on her phone in the corner, probably Instagramming the decorations. Dad sat at a table near the back, looking uncomfortable the way he always did at women's events. The shower followed the usual pattern. Games that made everyone laugh. Oohs and ahs over tiny clothes. Sarah made a joke about my waddle that had everyone in stitches. Eric's mom gave a touching toast about how excited they were to welcome the baby. Even Mom seemed genuinely happy, smiling as she helped me open gifts. For 2 hours, I let myself believe this was real. That my family actually cared. That Mom actually wanted to celebrate me. Then I had to pee. Again, pregnancy does that to you. I excused myself, making my way down the hallway toward the restrooms. The country club was old-money elegant, thick carpets, wood paneling, paintings of horses and golf courses. As I passed the coat room, I heard voices. Mom's voice, low and urgent. I stopped. "Jessica, listen to me. While everyone's distracted with the cake, you need to leave. Go to Rachel's house. You still have the spare key she gave you last month, right? Yeah, but Mom. No buts. The safe is in her bedroom closet. The combination is her birthday, 061492. Inside, there's Grandma's diamond jewelry, the deed to her condo, and whatever cash she keeps there. Take everything. My hand went to my mouth. I couldn't breathe. What if someone notices I'm gone? Jessica's voice was worried, but not horrified. Not refusing. Just worried about getting caught. They won't. Everyone will think you went to the bathroom or to check your phone. You're always on your phone anyway. The house is 20 minutes away. You'll be back before anyone misses you. We'll say there was a burglary. She'll never know. But what about... Rachel owes us. We've done so much for her over the years. This is just evening the score. Besides, half that jewelry should be mine anyway. Mom wanted me to have it. Rachel manipulated her into changing her will at the end. That was a lie. Grandma had been crystal clear. She'd told me, privately, 2 weeks before she died. Your mother will be angry, but I want you to have my jewelry. You're the one who called every week. You're the one who visited. Jessica never even sent a birthday card. You earned this, Rachel. Okay. Jessica's voice was resigned now. Complicit. Okay, I'll do it. But what about the cameras? She doesn't have cameras. She's mentioned it before, says she keeps meaning to get a security system but hasn't gotten around to it. You'll be fine. I stood frozen in the hallway, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might wake the baby. My own mother, my own sister. Planning to rob me. At my baby shower. I wanted to burst in there. Scream at them. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the baby kicking, reminding me to stay calm. Maybe it was years of being the responsible one, the one who thinks before acting. Or maybe it was something darker, the cold, calculating part of me that wanted to see how far they'd go. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and opened the voice recorder app. I walked closer to the coat room door, holding my phone up. What if she notices things are missing right away? Jessica asked. She won't. After the shower, she and Eric are going to dinner with his parents. By the time she gets home, you'll have been back here for hours. Perfect alibi. And tomorrow we'll visit, all concerned, and suggest she must have been robbed while she was out. She'll be so upset and pregnant and emotional, she won't think clearly. We'll comfort her. Maybe even offer to help her file a police report. Mom laughed. Actually laughed. You're terrible, Jessica said, but she was giggling too. I'm practical. Rachel has always had more than she deserves. She got the good grades, the scholarships, Grandma's favor, even landed that decent man Eric after her divorce. Meanwhile, you're struggling. It's not fair. This is just redistributing the family wealth. I stopped recording. I had everything I needed. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped my phone. 3 weeks ago, I'd started suspecting something was wrong. Little things. Mail that went missing. A credit card I didn't open showing up in my credit report. Bank statements that had been redirected to an old address, an apartment I'd lived in with my ex. An apartment where Jessica had stayed for 2 months after a breakup last year. I'd been investigating quietly. I found credit card applications with signatures that looked like mine but weren't quite right. Cash advances I'd never made. Charges for designer clothes and expensive dinners that I'd never bought. Someone had stolen my identity and racked up over $50,000 in debt in my name. I'd suspected Jessica. She'd had access to my documents when she stayed with me. She knew my birthday, my social security number. But I hadn't had proof, and I definitely never suspected Mom was involved. Now I knew. This wasn't just about Grandma's jewelry. This was bigger. They'd been stealing from me for months, maybe years. I walked quickly back to the party, my mind racing. I needed to act normal. I needed to think. I caught Eric's eye from across the room. He was talking to his parents, but when he saw my face, he immediately excused himself. Hey, you okay? You look pale. He put his hand on my lower back, steadying me. I need you to do something for me, I whispered. Don't ask questions right now. Just trust me. Of course. What do you need? I pulled him into the empty hallway, away from the party noise. In about 20 minutes, Jessica is going to leave. She's going to say she has a headache or needs to check on something. When she does, I need you to follow her. Don't let her see you. She's going to my house. I need you to film everything she does. Can you do that? Eric's eyes widened. Rachel, what's going on? Please. I'll explain everything later, but I need you to trust me. Film everything. And call the police if she actually breaks in or takes anything. She has a key, I added quickly, seeing his confusion. I gave her a spare last month when she said she needed a place to stay if she ever had an emergency. But she's going to use it to steal from us. Jesus. Eric ran his hand through his hair. Okay, I'll do it. But you need to tell me everything once this is done. I will, I promise. He kissed my forehead. Whatever's happening, we'll handle it together. I went back to the party. I smiled. I laughed at jokes. I opened more gifts, tiny onesies and baby blankets and a stroller from Mom that probably cost a fortune. All while my heart was ice in my chest. When it was time for cake, Mom made a big show of having the servers bring out this elaborate 3-tiered creation with pink frosting roses. Everyone gathered around for photos. In the chaos of cutting and serving, Jessica slipped away. Eric caught my eye and nodded. He followed 30 seconds later, mumbling something about a work call to his parents. I forced myself to eat cake. To smile for pictures. To thank guests for their gifts. Sarah noticed something was off. You sure you're okay? She whispered. You've been weird since you came back from the bathroom. Just tired, I lied. Baby's sitting on my bladder. I'll be fine. 25 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A text from Eric. You were right, she's inside. I'm filming from the car across the street. Should I call police? I texted back. Not yet. Let me know what she takes. I excused myself again, saying I needed to check on Lily. My daughter was still playing happily, now engaged in an elaborate tea party with a little boy named Marcus. She waved at me, and I waved back, my heart breaking. How could my mother do this? How could she risk my children's security, their future? Another text from Eric. She's in your bedroom. Looking through the closet. Found the safe. She's trying the combination. I'd moved everything from that safe 2 weeks ago. When I first suspected the identity theft, I'd opened a safety deposit box at my bank and moved Grandma's jewelry, the condo deed, my important documents, everything. The safe in my bedroom was empty, except for some old tax returns and a stack of Monopoly money I'd put there as a test. Safe is empty. She looks panicked. She's calling someone. I waited. 30 seconds later, my mother's phone rang. She stepped away from the party, walking toward the coat room to answer it. I followed at a distance. What do you mean it's empty? Mom's voice was sharp. It has to be there. She wouldn't have moved it. Check again. Pausa. Under the bed? The closet? Maybe she has a second safe? Pause. Longer this time. Fine, come back. We'll figure this out later. Just act normal when you get here. Mom returned to the party, her smile tight. Jessica arrived 15 minutes later, claiming she'd had to take a work call. Her hands were shaking slightly as she took a piece of cake. I sat through the rest of the shower in a fog. Mom gave a touching speech about how proud she was of me, how excited she was to be a grandmother again, how family was everything. I wanted to vomit. As guests started leaving, Eric returned. He pulled me aside. I got everything, he whispered. Video of her entering with the key, searching the bedroom, trying to open the safe. Audio of her phone call with your mom. It's all time-stamped. What do you want to do? We wait, I said. I want everyone to witness this. By 6:30, most guests had left. Only close family remained: Mom, Dad, Jessica, Eric's parents, and Sarah. We were sitting around a table, having coffee, while Lily played nearby with some leftover balloons. Rachel, honey, we should probably let you rest, Mom said, ever the concerned mother. You've had a long day. You and Eric should go home, put your feet up. Actually, Mom, I think we need to talk first. Her smile faltered. Talk? About what? About what happened this afternoon. About Jessica leaving for half an hour. Jessica's face went white. I told you, I had a work call. You went to my house. I kept my voice calm, even though my hands were shaking. You used the spare key I gave you. You went into my bedroom and tried to open my safe. That's ridiculous, Mom said, standing up. Why would she do that? Rachel, are you feeling okay? Sometimes pregnancy hormones can make you paranoid. I heard you. My voice cut through her explanation. In the coat room, before you sent Jessica to rob me, the table went silent. Dad looked confused. Eric's parents looked shocked. Sarah's mouth fell open. I don't know what you think you heard, Mom said slowly, but you're clearly confused. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Because I recorded you. I hit play. Mom's voice filled the room, crystal clear. Jessica, listen to me. While everyone's distracted with the cake, you need to leave. Go to Rachel's house. I let it play through. The safe combination, the jewelry, the plan to make it look like a burglary. Jessica's giggling agreement. Mom's laugh about redistributing family wealth. When it finished, the silence was deafening. Rachel, I can explain, Mom started. Explain what? How you've been stealing from me. Because it's not just today, is it? I pulled out the folder I'd hidden in my bag earlier. I've been doing some investigating over the past few weeks. Credit cards I didn't open. $50,000 in debt I didn't create. Bank statements sent to Jessica's old address. I spread the papers on the table. These are credit card applications with forged signatures. These are statements showing cash advances made while I was at work. ATM withdrawals from machines near Jessica's apartment. And this is the police report I filed 3 days ago for identity theft. Jessica stood up abruptly, her chair scraping. I need to go. Sight down. Eric's voice was quiet but firm. He pulled out his phone. I have video of you breaking into Rachel's house today. Well, not breaking in, you had a key. But the intent was burglary. I filmed everything. You searching the bedroom, trying to open the safe. The phone call to your mom panicking about it being empty. You set me up, Jessica whispered. No, I said. You set yourself up. I just gave you the opportunity to show everyone who you really are. Dad had been silent through all of this, his face growing redder. Linda, he said to Mom, his voice strained. Tell me this isn't true. Mom was crying now, mascara running down her face. We were just trying to help Jessica. She's been struggling. You have so much, Rachel. Good job. Nice house, Eric. You thought you could steal from your pregnant daughter and get away with it. I stood up, my hands on my belly. The baby was kicking like crazy, sensing my stress. You've been stealing from me for months, using my identity, ruining my credit. And when that wasn't enough, you planned to rob me at my baby shower. At an event you threw supposedly to celebrate me. How could you? Sarah said, her voice breaking. How could any mother do this? Mom turned on her. You don't understand. You don't have children. Rachel has always had it easy. Easy? I laughed, and it came out bitter. I worked 2 jobs to pay for Jessica's college. I loaned you money when Dad's business was failing. I've showed up for every family obligation, every guilt trip, every demand. And this is how you repay me? By stealing my grandmother's jewelry? By stealing my identity? By trying to rob me while I'm 7 months pregnant? It's my mother's jewelry, Mom said desperately. It should have been mine. But it wasn't. Grandma left it to me because I earned it. Because I was there. Because I cared about her as a person, not as a source of inheritance. Eric's dad cleared his throat. He was a retired attorney. Rachel, you have more than enough evidence to press charges. Identity theft is a federal crime. The breaking and entering even with a key constitutes burglary given the intent. The conspiracy is on tape. If you want to pursue this, I can refer you to some excellent criminal attorneys. Press charges? Mom looked stricken. Against your own family? You stopped being my family when you decided to rob me. Dad finally spoke, his voice hollow. Linda, what have you done? Jessica, how could you go along with this? Oh, don't act innocent, Mom snapped at him. You knew Jessica needed money. You just didn't want to know how she got it. I didn't know about this, Dad said, but his voice was weak. He'd always been weak. Always let Mom run the show. Always looked the other way when Jessica got special treatment. He wasn't involved in the theft, but he'd enabled the environment that made them think they could get away with it. I picked up Lily, who'd stopped playing and was watching with wide, worried eyes. Eric, we're leaving. Sarah, you're welcome to stay at our place tonight instead of the hotel. Wait, Mom said. Rachel, please, let's talk about this, as a family. We're not a family, I said quietly. A family doesn't steal from each other. A family doesn't manipulate and lie and commit crimes against each other. You looked at me and saw a wallet, a tool, an obligation. You never saw me as your daughter. I looked at Jessica, who was crying silently. When did it start? The credit cards. When did you first use my information? She didn't answer, just stared at the floor. Was it when you stayed with me 2 years ago? After your breakup? I gave you a place to stay. I fed you, comforted you, and you repaid me by memorizing my social security number and forging my signature? I don't care what you needed. You're 28 years old. Get a job, earn your own money, stop living off other people. I turned to Eric. Call the police. Give them the video. I want to press charges. Rachel, no. Mom lurched forward, grabbing my arm. Please, we'll pay back the money. All of it. Just don't do this. Think of the family. Think of the shame. I looked down at her hand on my arm, then back at her face. I am thinking of my family. My real family. Lily. My baby. Eric. The people who actually love me. The people who don't see me as a bank account. I gently removed her hand. You should have thought about shame before you committed identity theft. Before you conspired to rob me. Before you turned my baby shower into a crime scene. Eric made the call. Within 20 minutes, 2 police officers arrived at the country club. I showed them my recording. Eric showed them his video. We provided the documentation of identity theft, the forged signatures, the timeline. They arrested Jessica first. She cried the whole time, begging me to reconsider. You're my sister, she kept saying. How can you do this to me? How could you do this to me? I asked. How could you look at your pregnant sister and think, I'm going to ruin her credit and steal her inheritance? She didn't have an answer. They arrested Mom as an accomplice conspiracy to commit burglary, accessory to identity theft. She maintained her dignity until they put the handcuffs on, and then she crumbled, screaming that I was ungrateful, that I'd always been jealous of Jessica, that I was tearing the family apart. You tore the family apart, I said. The moment you decided to steal from me. Dad wasn't arrested, he genuinely seemed to have no knowledge of the plan, but he didn't defend Mom or Jessica either. He just sat there, gray-faced, watching his wife and younger daughter being led away in handcuffs. I'm sorry, he said to me as I was leaving. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say. You enabled this. Maybe not today, maybe not the identity theft, but you enabled Jessica's entitlement. You enabled Mom's favoritism. You looked away every time they hurt me because it was easier than standing up to them. Rachel, I don't want your apology. I want you to think about what kind of father stands by while one daughter is used as an ATM for the other. What kind of father watches his wife plan a robbery and does nothing? I didn't know. You should have known. That's the point. I walked out of the Rosewood Country Club holding Lily's hand, with Eric and Sarah flanking me, and I didn't look back. The next few weeks were brutal. The police investigation confirmed what I'd suspected. Jessica had been using my identity for over 18 months. She'd opened 6 credit cards, taken out a personal loan, even tried to open a line of credit using my condo as collateral. Total debt, $73,000. Mom had known about at least some of it. Text messages between them showed Mom advising Jessica on which cards had the highest limits, suggesting she space out the applications to avoid detection. Mom had also received about $20,000 in loans from Jessica, money that had actually come from my stolen credit. The baby shower robbery was their escalation. They'd gotten greedy, or desperate. The credit cards were getting declined. Collections agencies were calling. They needed cash fast. And they figured Grandma's diamonds could be sold for at least $50,000. They hadn't counted on me moving everything. Or on me being suspicious enough to set up cameras. I'd actually installed a nanny cam in my bedroom 2 weeks earlier, not in the bedroom itself, but positioned to watch the closet where the safe was. The footage was crystal clear. Jessica took a plea deal. 3 years in prison, 5 years probation, and restitution of all the money she'd stolen. Mom fought the charges at first, claiming she'd only been trying to help her struggling daughter, but with the recording and the text messages, her lawyer eventually convinced her to take a deal too. 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, and joint liability for the restitution. Dad called me twice. Once to beg me to drop the charges, once to tell me he was filing for divorce. I felt nothing either time. The hardest part was explaining it to Lily. She was 4, old enough to know something was wrong, young enough not to understand adult betrayal. Why can't we see Grandma anymore? She asked one night at bedtime. Grandma made some bad choices, I said carefully. She hurt Mommy. So we need to take a break from seeing her for a while. Did you hurt her feelings? No, baby. She hurt mine. Oh, Lily processed this. Can you say sorry to each other? Sometimes grown-ups hurt each other in ways that sorry can't fix. She seemed to accept this, in the way children accept things they don't fully understand. She asked about Jessica once or twice, but her favorite aunt had always been Eric's sister anyway. Jessica had never had much patience for children. Eric was my rock through everything. He went to court with me, held my hand through the testimony, stayed calm when I wanted to scream. 3 weeks after the arrests, he proposed. I was going to wait until after the baby came, he said, down on one knee in our living room. But life is short, and family is what you make it. You, Lily, and this baby, you're my family. Will you marry me? I said yes through tears. We got married in our backyard 2 weeks later. Just us, Lily, Sarah, Eric's parents and sister, and a handful of close friends. Eric's mom walked me down the aisle since I had no father to do it. Lily was our flower girl, taking her job very seriously, placing each petal with grave concentration. My daughter Emma was born 6 weeks later. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, with a full head of dark hair and her big sister's eyes. Lily was obsessed with her, wanting to help with everything: diaper changes, baths, feeding time. She's so tiny, Lily whispered, touching Emma's hand gently. We have to keep her safe. We will, I promised. We'll keep each other safe. Mom wrote me from prison. A long letter about how she'd made mistakes, how she hoped I could forgive her someday, how she wanted to be part of her granddaughters' lives. She didn't apologize for the theft, just for the misunderstanding and for how things turned out. I didn't write back. Jessica's letter was angrier. I'd ruined her life, she said. I'd always been jealous of her. I'd set her up. I'd used her. The letter was full of accusations and very short on accountability. I didn't write back to her either. Dad reached out through his lawyer about the money. The restitution would take years to pay off on his salary alone, and he wanted to know if I'd consider a payment plan that wouldn't completely bankrupt him. I agreed through my lawyer. I wasn't trying to destroy Dad financially. I just wanted what was mine back. The money came slowly. 500 here, 1,000 there. At that rate, I'd be paid back by the time Emma graduated college, but I didn't care anymore. It wasn't about the money. It had never really been about the money. It was about worth, about being seen, about refusing to be used. 6 months after Emma was born, we were at the park. Eric was pushing Emma in the baby swing while Lily played on the monkey bars. Sarah was visiting for the weekend, sprawled on a blanket with iced coffee and a true crime podcast. Do you ever regret it? She asked me. Pressing charges. Going nuclear on your family. I watched my daughters. Emma giggling as Eric made funny faces. Lily hanging upside down from the bars, fearless and free. No, I said. They weren't my family. Not really. Family doesn't steal from you. Family doesn't manipulate you. Family doesn't look at you and see dollar signs. I gestured at Eric and the girls. That's my family. The one I chose. The one that chose me back. What if they reach out after they get out? Your mom will be out in less than a year. Then I'll deal with it then. But I'm done feeling guilty for protecting myself. I'm done sacrificing my peace for people who never cared about me. Sarah raised her coffee cup. To chosen family. I clinked my water bottle against it. To chosen family. That night, after the girls were asleep, I stood in Emma's nursery and looked at the photos on the wall. Lily holding her baby sister for the first time. Eric and me on our wedding day. Sarah and me at college graduation. Eric's parents at the hospital. The family we'd built not through blood, but through love and choice and respect. There was a time when I thought family meant obligation, meant sacrifice, meant accepting whatever treatment came your way because they were family, and family was everything. Now I knew better. Family was the people who saw your worth, who celebrated your victories instead of resenting them, who protected you instead of exploiting you, who loved you not for what you could give them, but for who you were. My mother taught me what family wasn't. My daughters would learn what family was. And that made all the difference. I never went back to the Rosewood Country Club. I never wanted to see that coat room again, to stand in the hallway where I learned my mother's true nature. Some places hold too many ghosts. But sometimes, when I'm holding Emma or watching Lily draw pictures of our family, always the 4 of us, never the grandparents who betrayed us, I think about that day. About the moment I heard my mother's whispered conspiracy, about the choice I made to record instead of confront, to document, instead of react. I think about the me from before, the people pleaser, the caretaker, the daughter who worked 2 jobs to put her sister through school, the woman who would have made excuses for them, who would have swallowed the betrayal to keep the peace. That woman died in the coat room of the Rosewood Country Club. The woman who walked out, the one who pressed charges, who chose herself, who built a new family on her own terms. She was born there too. My mother wanted to rob me. Instead, she freed me. And I've never looked back.